overlooks the $30 billion in taxpayer funding that we put into biomedical innovation today through the National Institutes of Health, the very few cents on the dollar that we get back from the pharmaceutical industry reinvested in research and development, and the record-setting profit margins of the industry today, not to mention the many overlapping monopoly protections the pharmaceutical companies have already won through a series of prior trade agreements. If this rule goes through, 10 of the countries in the TPP region would see monopoly powers expanded and therefore biosimilars delayed getting to the market. And as Zahara has noted, if you're living with cancer, you can't wait 8 years, you can't wait even one more year. Treatment has to be available today. We have to do everything we can to expedite treatment to market. Next up, I'd like to introduce Dazon from the community-based HIV organization here in Atlanta, Sister Love.
Thanks so much. Hey, everybody.
Hey.
Hey, everybody.
Hey.
All right. Thank you so much. I'm Dazon Dixon Jallo. I'm with Sister Love here in Atlanta, and I too want to thank Zakara for sharing her story and for bringing a powerful message of why this particular rule in the TPP agreement must be stricken. This rule must be stricken.
Yes.
Now, I don't want us to forget or disconnect the idea that we're identifying this particular rule as the death sentence, and that we're standing on the main thoroughfare in the state of Georgia, in the city of Atlanta, Peachtree Street, not an hour away from where just last night Kelly Gissinger was committed to death by the same ideology that puts profits before people, by the same ideology that has disenfranchised what health and well-being and what life means on this planet. The work that I do is in HIV and AIDS, and I'm an old act-upper. I remember the days of standing in these same spaces in front of the CDC, in front of various pharmaceuticals, fighting for the rights for people who were living and dying at that time of AIDS, to get access to the best research, the fastest, most effective, and most affordable and accessible way that they could. And I just cannot believe that I am standing here yet again having to fight the same crap.
Yeah.
So here's the deal. In addition to the millions of people that Zakara represents who are affected by cancers of many different forms, including my cousin, who is currently going through her 4th bout with ovarian cancer, not sure if she has 8 years. By the same token, on any given day, there are 34 to 35 million people living with HIV and AIDS, currently only of which about 15 million have the right access to the meds that they need. And we're still fighting for access to those meds. We're still fighting the compulsory licensing rules that the pharmaceuticals are fighting. We're still fighting right now. What this rule does is it compounds that struggle. It adds another layer. TPP does not stand for a Trans-Pacific Partnership in my eyes. It stands for the theft of people's power.
All right.
It stands for taking away people's possibilities.
Yeah.
This is not acceptable. Unacceptable is the word of the day. Unacceptable is the word for this ruling in this agreement. I also want to echo Zakara's support. I sit, full disclosure, real talk, on advisory boards with national pharmaceutical organizations. My organization receives funding from some pharmaceutical organizations. That does not disconnect the fact that the same people that we receive the funding to serve are also not standing in resistance to the corporate greed in those same pharmaceuticals that somehow manage to make the disconnect for the comfort of their own sense of capitalist greed. We have beautiful, dedicated, committed scientists and educators and researchers and advocates who believe in these medicines. But we also believe that these medicines cannot belong to one forever. We also believe that the opportunity to make maintain not just the status quo, but a total shift in the culture of how we use the funding that comes not only for the research that goes into these compounds, but also for what we identify as the benefit in these compounds. Is it about lives, or is it about your stock account?
Right.
Is it about people's opportunities, or is it about your own personal wealth gain? This is what we're talking about. I fear that not only this rule, but additional challenges in the Trans-Pacific Partnership taking people's power, agreement or disagreement, is actually moving us into an international capitalist overdrive. And that overdrive is driving right over the lives of poor people, women, people of color, people in the global south, and people in this U.S. South, where we already don't have the proper and affordable access to health care and the medicines that we need. It's driving the price just in case folks decide to get healthy. You know, the science has moved us to a point where we have greater opportunities with better drugs right now to end disease. We have the opportunity to stop the epidemic. We have an opportunity to cut cancer off at its knees. And this opportunity will be absolutely for naught if we have to wait 8 years for someone to say, I can afford these, for some government to say, we can now pay for the meds for our people, for our government to say, we no longer can provide the funding needed because they're just too damn expensive. They're driving people not only to the poorhouse, not only to the hospitals, but straight to the grave. This is unacceptable. We're already challenged, and we've already been waiting, and we will wait no more. We will wait no more.
Yes.
We will wait no more. We will wait no more. Stop the death sentence rule. We will wait no more. We will wait no more. Thank you.
All right.